Alright, take two. I accidentally doxed someone. So I gotta start the video over. I guess I could have edited it. I was only 2 minutes in. Oh my goodness. It's been a while. Like the haircut? Like the haircut? Like the beard? The beard? What's up, you guys? It's been a minute, both here and on my main channel. I haven't uploaded in a while. Today is a serious topic. I don't know what the headline is. I don't know what the title is. I don't know what you've read, but today we're going to be talking about some serious shit. We're going to be talking about, some child abuse issues and potentially that CP, maybe, and stuff like that. Brought on by my own collection, with my own experiences on the other side there. Yeah, let's get into it. I just got up. I wanted to talk about this. Without a lot of barriers. I feel like I'm my best person after I just get up. When I don't overthink things, when I don't sit there and meticulously obsess, when I just do it. So, let's just do this. I wanted to talk about this. So what brought this whole issue up was I have an aunt who does not sleep at night, and she likes to go for walks, and she'll call me up from time to time if my sleep schedule permits it. I have hardcore insomnia. Sometimes I'm up during the day, sometimes I'm up at night. She called me the other day, and I happened to be up, and she was like, "You wanna go for a walk?" I was like, "All right." So she came down, picked me up, and we drove down by the pier, and we're just walking and talking. And I forget what brought it up. Oh, I remember what brought it up. We were talking about friends and stuff from back in the day. One girl named Karen. She's the mother of some of my childhood friends who I don't see anymore. One of them, they were brothers. One of them's doing okay, I think. The other one is living the life, man. Sleeping on the streets, baby mama, cheating on him all the time, and needle in one arm, pipe in the other hand. Anyway, their mother was a cool chick. We were talking about her, this Karen feller. Now she was pretty cool, and I remember I invited her to my wedding when me and Stacy got married, and at my wedding I was having a conversation with her. She didn't. So this brought on a conversation I was having with my aunt while we were walking and talking. I was talking about this conversation I had with Karen at my wedding, and I said she didn't yell at me. She didn't used to yell at the kids, the way everybody else did. Everybody else would just, yell the way, a parent or someone does at you when you're a kid. "Don't do that. Hey, stop. Bah, 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 bah." She didn't do that. She always had some sort of message, and she tried to educate you, and it was effective. And I would tell her that. I told her that at my wedding, and she got so happy. She's kind of a humanitarian. She's had millions of foster kids, and cool chick. And I told her this at my wedding, and it made her very happy. I was telling my aunt this. This was the conversation I was having with my aunt. And my aunt kind of got a little jealous. And she's like, well, I always try to do that. I was like, no, you didn't. No, you did not. She's like, yeah, we had some good conversations. And that's true. I'll give it up to my aunt for that. We did have some good conversations outside of me being in trouble. But when I got in trouble, when she would yell at me, she was all emotion. Yelling and screaming and, you know, just not really explaining anything, just screaming at you. Almost every single time I got in trouble when it involved my aunt when I was younger, and I'm talking like, 4, 5, 6, younger than 10. Almost every time I got in trouble with my aunt, she just, it was never on a scale of 1 to 10, it was always a 10. Blew her top. Well, that's not true. I'll tell you what a 10 looks like. Blew her top, screaming and yelling, threatening, all sorts of stuff. So I kind of confronted her on one particular issue, on one particular event when I was a small child. I think I was 5 or 4. If I was 4, I was almost 5. Or I was just into kindergarten. So I got caught. I won't bury the lead anymore. I got caught playing show and tell with a little lady friend of mine back when I was a wee tot. The details of the events were kind of hazy. This was when I was 5. I don't remember everything. My aunt actually brought something up that I hadn't even thought of. So we were playing show and tell, and what I mean by this is we were me and my little lady friend. Her name was Danielle. I hadn't seen her. I didn't grow up with her. I didn't know her as a teenager. She was someone's friend's kid at the time, and we were babysat together here and there, and that's about the extent of it. She was one of my few friends, back in the day when I was younger, of the opposite sex. I didn't have a lot of, friends that were girls when I was, well, ever, really. Ever. But this was one of them, and we were alone together up in my bedroom, and we decided to show each other's junk off, and we were doing that. She went first. She was showing me straight up, dropping her pants, bending over, and there was no touching. And I was looking, and it wasn't malicious, it wasn't mean, it was straight up 2 5-year-olds just exploring. And yeah, that's about it. That's all that went on between us. So she went, and I was looking, and then it was my turn, and I just undid my pants, and then the door swung open, and it was my aunt. And I hadn't gotten all my stuff down, and I just pulled it back up. So she caught us. She caught us. What do you do in that? So I don't have any children. What do you do in that situation? It's something I thought of. If it were me, number one, I'd break it up. All right, you guys. All right. Separate them for the rest of the day or whatever, right? sit down and have like a talk with the two of them, and then separate them, and then talk to them separately. Say, hey, I understand you guys are curious and stuff, but you can't be doing that. Especially as an aunt, as an aunt. To myself, to her, she would be the babysitter, right? You don't really want to have the birds and the bees talks with your babysitter and piss the parents off and shit like that, right? So first of all, there was no talks. There was no talks. And, well, what had happened, I'll tell you what happened in reality in that situation. My aunt, like I said, every single time I was in trouble or whatever, there was, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was always a 10. And I joked that, it's always a 10, but in reality, that day was a 10. Usually it's like a 7 or an 8 with her, freaking out. Today was a 10. There was a difference today, and that difference was her anger. She got red. There was blood boiling under her skin. I could see it. She was red. She turned into a different person. Freaked out, yelling and screaming, crying. Tears were like rolling down her face. She grabbed me. I kept pulling away, so she kept alternating. When I would pull free, she would grab something else. She was alternating between my shirt, my arm, and my hair. My bedroom was on the upstairs, so she dragged me downstairs. I don't know where we were going or what we were doing, and she was ranting the whole time. And Danielle, followed. And, she was just screaming. I felt like she was trying to explain something, and she yanked my pants down with my little dick flopping all over. Danielle watching. I hadn't even shown little Danielle nothing yet. Like I said, I was just about to. She had already had her turn. Or I should say, I had already had my turn. I was just about to pull down, and I pulled right back up when my aunt busted through the door. She hadn't even seen anything yet. She done saw something when she followed us downstairs, and I was getting my ass beat. My aunt yanked my pants down and spanked the living shit out of me. Just like you hear in, stories on TV about older people. Like, my daddy would have whooped me so I couldn't sit down for a week. That's what happened. I couldn't sit down for a week. Because my ass and my legs and my back were so swollen and bruised, it hurt to sit. It hurt to stand, it hurt to walk, and it hurt to lay down. For a fucking week, I couldn't fucking do anything. I was in pain. Hold me with one hand, with an arm. I was tippy toes on the ground, trying to keep balance. Hold me up, one hand. Yank my pants down, my underwear down around my ankles, right? My wiener flopping everywhere. Just fucking going to town on me, right? So Danielle saw, thanks to my aunt. And, that the whole situation never sat well with me. Not just because I got, the shit whooped out of me, but, thinking back on it, like, I didn't really do anything wrong. I was 5. And I know why she reacted that way. If you've been listening thus far. Well, why would someone react that way? Well, the reason is because because there's something wrong with her, is what it is. And I don't really know exactly what is wrong with her, to be clear. I could speculate that she probably got raped or something like that. At a party, or when she was young. Maybe her dad, my grandfather, did it. I do not know. I do not know. And the reason why I say that is because she's got a weird relationship with our grandfather. You know, he took off, my grandfather did. He took off from the family when, you know, the three girls, my aunt and her two sisters, including my mom, you know, when they were very young, and she idolized him. And just hearing how my other two, you know, her other two sisters would talk, you know, my mother and my other aunt, about the situation. It's like, they would explain that she didn't really even know him because he took off when she was like 4. I don't know. I really don't know. Just speculation. Don't really want to talk ill about my grandfather, to be honest. But, you know, I heard he was kind of a piece of shit. Sorry, Grandpa. Anyway, this isn't really about my grandfather or my family dynamic. So she's kind of messed up. And I've always felt like she abused me there. Now, I know she wasn't trying to be malicious. To her defense, you know? In her eyes, she walked in on me doing something very bad, and she, to the best of her abilities, punished me and taught me not to do anything like that again. Which didn't work, because I was playing show and tell with the next door neighbor shortly after that. The neighbor girl, there was 3 of them. There were 3 sisters. There was the older one, the middle one, and the younger one. And the middle one was just right. No, I was doing that shit again later. Seriously though, so this is how the conversation for that midnight walk went. As I was talking to her, I'll tell you about the conversation. So she got a little jealous when we were talking about Karen, and she tried to say that, you know, she tried to teach the kids stuff, you know, growing up and everything. And I tell her, like, no, you were not Miss, hey, let's talk about it. I said, because, you know, I was trying to be nice, though. I wasn't trying to, like, rib her. It's not like right now where we're talking about someone else. That's just what I do. If I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you like I am right now. You know, I'm looking at you, trying to explain shit, be courteous. If I'm talking about someone else, doesn't matter who I'm talking about. Doesn't matter if it's my aunt, you know, Danielle, my wife, Karen. I'm always fucking flipping someone's shit. Yeah, and they were this and that. That's just how I am. That's just how I am. So I was doing that too. You know, we were talking about people and shit. I do that too. I just realized when I talk about, even if I'm talking about the person with them in the past, it's almost like I'm talking about a different person, and I will flip that person shit, even though it's them. It's like, no, you were you were crazy. But no, I was trying to be. Because as soon as she said something, this came to mind. This incident came to mind, and it's not something I ever talked about with her until that night, and I brought it up. And I did not like her reaction. I thought in the least, because it was a lifetime ago, I'm not looking for reparations or anything like that. And honestly, I wouldn't say it scarred me, but it is something I have thought about on several occasions. And my conclusion was is she overreacted because there's something wrong with her. She was hurt by someone in some sort of incident that she keeps locked up inside of her, and this is her reaction to things. So I kind of, I forgave her. I forgave her, on my own terms, but it's not something I actually confronted her with until that night. And I gave her an example. I was like, no, I said, remember when, and she goes, that day at the cabin? And I had forgotten about that one. This one scarred me less. That day at the cabin. That day at the cabin was a similar situation to this, except the implications were a lot more grave, and I was innocent on that one. I won't go into that one next. That might be part 2 of, of the saga here. I already know the title, That Day at the Cabin. She is very hard for me to talk about. Anyway, I confronted her, and I said, remember, that day we were, me and Danielle were playing show and tell? I said, you whooped the living shit out of me. I said, there was no talking there. The conversation got awkward quickly. I didn't get to ask a lot of things. I was trying to be delicate because I felt like she would have freaked out, and she kind of did. She ended the walk quickly. Usually we do a couple of laps around the pier, and it takes about 45 minutes. We started the conversation around the first lap, and then when we finished the lap around where the car was, she pretended like she got spooked, and we hopped in the car, and she took me home. So I made her uncomfortable. We moved on from the conversation shortly after that. Shortly after I brought it up, but it's just a little difficult to, that's why I can't spit the dick out. It's a little difficult to talk about. Don't really know what points I want to make. So I was talking to her about it. I got coffee on my beard. I was talking to her about it, and I confronted her. I said, she didn't, you didn't talk to me or nothing like that. You just whooped the shit out of me. And I didn't like her responses. She defended what she did by trying to act like I was doing something wrong. Like I said, how do you handle a situation like that? I think I would have, talked to the both of them together, and then separated them, and then talked to them individually. If it was my nephew, I would talk to them differently than I was talking to the kid getting babysat. I'd ask them questions, what happened, and all that stuff. Make sure nothing nefarious went on. Which nothing did. Nothing nefarious went on. It was just 2 curious 5-year-olds. No one was popping no boners or nothing like that. Just 2 curious 5-year-olds wanting a peek. Because, at the time, I have no siblings. At the time, I didn't have a little cousin. I have a younger cousin who, is a female. I've seen her get her diaper changed before, but up until that point I have not seen what a female looks like. I was completely, I had no idea. So there's nothing nefarious going on. There was no touching or anything like that. She never asked that. My aunt never asked that. My aunt never asked anything. She just saw the situation, grabbed me and not her, which is very interesting, and whooped the living shit out of me. No questions were asked. And my aunt never told anyone either. My aunt never told anyone either. During our conversation, the very brief conversation while we were on our walk, she goes, well, then why did you close the door? If you weren't doing anything wrong, then why did you close the door? Because we were playing show and tell, and it's what you do. We wanted a little privacy. I don't know. I told her, I said I don't remember my train of thought when I was 5. I don't remember anything. I just know that, we were in there doing that. I don't really remember how it came up. This is the bit of information she told me, though. She said her mother was a whore, slept around a lot, and had her when she was 15. And at the time of, still, in that time, 5 years later after she had her, was still sleeping around a lot and was promiscuous, and insinuated that maybe Danielle, her child, was exposed to some things that maybe a 5-year-old should not be, and suggested that she probably initiated the show and tell. I said, "Oh, I had no idea." I said, maybe she did. I don't really remember. Maybe she did. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. It doesn't really matter. Um, that's probably not true anyway. My aunt loves to justify and make up wild stories about why something happens. I mean, she's trying to pin this on Danielle, that she was like, something was wrong with her as a kid, that she was tainted from potential abuse, and that's the reason why we were in there playing show and tell, because she was trying to do something. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's bullshit. Because she wasn't trying to do anything. We weren't trying to touch each other or nothing like that. We weren't. In fact, one of the few things I do remember is I was the one that insisted that she go first. So I probably initiated it, to be honest. Like I said, I was curious, and then the very next week or month or whatever, I remember doing the same thing with the next door neighbor over at her house. Again, no touching there. No touching there. That was a weird one, too, because we were both in the bathroom playing, and she just decided she had to go pee. So she, while I was in there, she didn't ask me to leave, stood up on the toilet, standing there, and just, like, feet on the toilet seat, and squatted and peed. And I asked if I could watch, and she goes, sure. And that was about it. And then I asked her if she wanted to see me, and she said no. I said, oh, okay. I got off scot-free in both situations. Not really, because like I said, when my aunt was spanking the shit out of me, my fucking dingle-dongle-dangle was fucking doing flips and shit. That was so embarrassing. That was the worst part of the whole thing, getting the shit beat out of me while I was like looking in the eyes of the girl who was just showing me her junk. So embarrassing. That's how she saw my stuff. So if my aunt was trying to prevent something, she didn't prevent shit. So like I said, the conversation that I had with my aunt wasn't very long. I brought up the incident. I said he didn't really talk anything out. He just whooped the shit out of me. And I said, I always felt like that was way too harsh. I said we were just kids. There was nothing nefarious going on. I said we weren't touching each other. And you grabbed me like it was solely me and my fault, and you took it all out on me like I did something wrong. And that's when she said, well, you guys were hiding behind the door. Why would you do that if you weren't doing something wrong? Okay, adult, who totally didn't overreact. It was all the kid's fault. I didn't have a good answer for her there. She hit me on the spot, but I reiterated that we were just kids, and we weren't doing anything wrong, and if we were, I wasn't doing anything more wrong than her. I wasn't the aggressor. I wasn't doing anything to her. I wasn't popping no boners. I wasn't being malicious. I wasn't touching anyone. We were there mutually, and no one of us was at fault over the other. And I said, it was very one-sided, And then she didn't really have any good answers for that. She never apologized. She never said the word I'm sorry. Not even lightly. Not even kind of like, yeah, sorry, I overreacted a little bit. No admission of nothing. No acknowledgement that, if she was trying to prevent us from seeing each other down there, that she totally just exposed me in front of her. Then the way she's trying to throw guilt and stuff around, like, oh, well, she didn't do anything wrong. Well, maybe it was all her fault. I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't like her answers. I didn't like her answers. I didn't really want an apology. I just wanted to let her know. And I did, I suppose. I did. Hopefully she thought about it. It's not something I'm going to be bringing up again ever. But yeah, I wanted to let her know that, you know, she embarrassed the shit out of me, and that was a pretty good ass whooping too. I hadn't gotten beat like that before. Not like that. It's come close, but not like that. And this is something I do know. I didn't ask her at the time of, but this is something I do know. She never told anyone. My aunt. She never told. I mean, maybe she told someone, but she never told my mother. She never told any of our family members. She never told the girl's mother. She never told anyone else. She just kind of tucked the whole thing under the rug. So, one thing she kept saying is, oh, well, she wasn't my kid. I can't, you know, reprimand her the same way I could reprimand you. I told her, you know, I'm not saying you should have beat her too. What I'm saying is you shouldn't have beat either of us. And, you know, I don't know. It's weird that this happened to me. Talking about myself, if I was talking about other people, I don't know. Is this child abuse? Did she abuse me? Or you listen to the story going, yeah, Turbo, you are the fucking devil. You should not have been doing that, and it's all your fault. Whatever happened between the two of you, it wasn't two, it was one, it was you, it was you. You know, applaud your aunt. She should have killed you. You know, I don't know. I think I know. I think I know. I think I know it was bullshit. I think she overreacted. I think there's a reason why she overreacted, and it had nothing to do with me, but I think she overreacted, and there was a reason for it. She took that shit out on me. And we talking about closed doors. I think she hid the whole fucking thing behind a giant closed door after that. She didn't tell my mom. She didn't tell anyone's parents about the situation. Because I think she knows that she overreacted. Maybe she just didn't want to speak about it because that sort of thing triggered her. Maybe she just saw an innocent thing. I'm not saying it was right or cool or it should be promoted. To be clear, I am very... I don't have any children of my own, but I am protective of children. If I'm driving down the street and I see a weird situation, I better believe I'm pulling over and I'm confronting this situation. You know, a lot of weirdos and bullshit going on, especially here in the Seattle area. You know, but yeah, she I don't know. I guess I feel like she abused me there, but not on purpose. Yeah, I'm disappointed. I was hoping for some sort of resolution. There was no resolution. She insisted she didn't do anything wrong. She insisted we were in the wrong. She didn't come out and say she did the right thing. She actually expressed confusion, like, well, what are you supposed to do? You know, like I said, I agree. You're not supposed to... It's not your place to whoop the other kid or to have a talk with them about that, but you could say, like, hey, this isn't something you should do. If you're curious or have any questions, instead of, you know, you guys could talk to each other, but we're not supposed to show skin. Like, your neck, your face, your arms, maybe your ankles and your legs if you're wearing shorts, but other than that, no skin, you know. Separate them, you know, for the remainder of the day. tell the parents, hey, here's what happened. You know, don't make them feel gross and dirty like they did something wrong for fucking years. Don't embarrass the shit out of them and expose them in front of the other one like that, in that way. Fuck. Yeah. Not all stories have a good ending, you know. Fucking 35 years later, I confronted my aunt on this. And she took no responsibility, didn't apologize in the least, maintained that it was us that were the wrongdoers. And when I told her, you know, whether it was right or wrong or innocent or whatever, like, there was nothing nefarious there. Like, I was telling her, like, look, that we weren't touching each other. We weren't trying to do anything. I said, for Christ's sake, we were 5. You know? I said, I told her straight up. It's like, I wasn't popping no boners or nothing. You know? Like, that wasn't exciting me. I was 5. And she just maintained. The only thing that she said was, well, I can't beat the other kid. That's someone else's kid. It's different when it's, you know, your blood. You know, you're my nephew. And that's when I told her, look, I'm not trying to say that you should have beat her too. I'm trying to say you shouldn't have beat either of us. Anyway, that's when the conversation, I could see her mannerisms. She was talking faster and she was kind of moving around a little bit more. I was like, all right, we got to get off the subject. I said what I had to say, so I shifted the conversation back to Karen, the mother of, you know, one of my friend's mothers from back in the day, and then the conversation carried on to something else. But, yeah, it was awkward. It was awkward. Probably more so for her. I don't know. I can only speculate because I ain't asking her again. If I did, my aunt would freak out. She kind of freaked out there, but she handled it. I knew it would go like this. I was hoping it went a little bit better, but I knew she'd freak out, and I knew that, you know, I couldn't talk to her for very long about it. It's not like a topic we could chill and talk about for 15 minutes, half an hour. Because she would get uncomfortable and freak out. 2 minutes. 2 minutes we were talking about it. And then I was like, all right, let's move on. Let's move on. Can't get blood out of a turnip. That's my story. You know, when I was little. You know? I asked her, I said, didn't you ever, wasn't there anyone, when you were real little, wasn't there no one you played show and tell with or anything like that? What did she say? She said no. I didn't have any friends that were boys at the time. You know? I didn't know that. Yeah, so 35 years later, I confronted her on the situation, and I didn't really get any answers. Well, I got some answers. I got some insights, but none of them were good. None of them were the ones I wanted. To be honest, I just wanted an apology. You know? Even if it was a non-apology, that would have been better. You know, I would have understood. I would have understood if she was like, I was 21, I was young, you know, I hadn't even had any kids of my own yet, and, you know, you never think you're in a situation like that, and then when it happens, you're like, well, what do I do? You know, I was freaking out. I would have understood. Just, you know, I overreacted, you know, she didn't even have to, like, say the words. Or say I'm sorry, or, you know, say, yeah, I beat the shit out of you, but she could have said she was overreacting. None of that. And it was weird how she tried to pin the whole thing on, maybe that was her way of, kind of apologizing and saying, yeah, Turbo, I know you weren't being, evil or anything like that. She didn't even say that, though. She could have said, yeah, I know you weren't doing anything evil. She's got serious man issues. And that's about it. Maybe part 2 I'll talk about that incident at the cabin. It's similar. It was way more trust me when I say it was way more intense. But yeah, I didn't really want to do an expose on my aunt and how broken she is, but it could have been a lot worse. This sort of thing could have been a lot worse. Kids do weird things. She could have been touching me, not my aunt, my friend. Danielle could have been touching on me. Maybe she was all twisted at that age, and she did initiate for weird reasons. She could have done something. My curiosity could have gotten the better of me, and I maybe wanted to poke. I don't know. My aunt could have. Honestly, my aunt could have cut my penis off. I wouldn't put it past her. I'm glad she didn't, obviously. My wife's glad she didn't. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be revisiting that with her. Hopefully I said the right things and asked the right questions and conveyed my points to her enough, and that she's thought about it. Because I haven't really been thinking of much else past, it was about 3 nights ago this was. Past 3 nights. 3 days and nights. Want to get that out, talk about that. Anyways, thanks for listening to me bitch on a more serious note. I know if you go down through here on my channel, there's all sorts of crazy topics where I'm saying naughty words and people are freaking out, and I'm laughing about the far left and just being a doof. But I do like to, talk on a more serious note here and explain some shit. Just tell you what I'm thinking and maybe share some stories. This one was not a good story, but it was a story. Anyway, again, thanks for listening to me, bitch, you guys. Peace the fuck out. See you guys until next time.